I got a bachelor's degree in 4 months for less than $4,000. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly how I did it. I'm making this video because I wanna help out other people who also wanna get their degrees. Do you need a degree to be successful in today's world? No. I know a lot of people who are successful without having degrees, but if you find yourself stuck like I did, unable to get a good job without having a degree, then this video is for you, and I'm gonna tell you exactly how I got mine in 4 months. I enrolled in Western Governors University. They aren't paying me to make this video, by the way. I just wanna help you guys improve your lives, because let me tell you, my life has improved a lot since I got this piece of paper right here. First thing we're gonna go over, why WGU is a good choice. For one, schooling is 100% online. You never have to leave your house to do this, not even to take the tests. And I know what you're probably thinking. You got a degree in 4 months? Can this possibly be a legitimate degree? And the answer is yes. A WGU degree is legitimate, and it's accredited by the same organization that accredits BYU, one of the highest ranking schools in the United States. Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities is the organization that accredits WGU, and they also accredit a large number of other schools in the US as well. I'm gonna pop up some examples of people's success stories after getting a degree with WGU. If you wanna read them, you can feel free to pause the screen. WGU is a little under $4,000 for 6 months of schooling. You can also apply for financial aid and bring that price down even lower. The way I was able to complete this degree so quickly is because it's a work at your own pace type of program. As soon as you finish one course, you move right on to the next one. And completing a course doesn't mean you have to go through an entire semester's worth of assignments and homework. All you have to do is gain enough understanding of the course to pass one test or complete one assignment. That's it. So let's go over how WGU works. Unlike most schools, you don't have to wait for a spring or a fall semester to begin. You can begin your program at the beginning of any month. So for me, after I made the final decision, I was able to get started working on my courses about 2 months later. So after I got accepted into the program, I went online and I did an orientation. After you watch the video, they assign you a program mentor who you work with throughout the entire time you're at WGU. Your mentor is basically there to just answer any questions you have, to really just help you out. You can email them, talk to them on the phone. Some people talk to their mentor on the phone once a week. I only talked to mine once at the very beginning on the phone and then never talked to her again. After that, I would just send her emails. Once you begin the program, they'll have a few courses for you that are unlocked, but you only work on one course at a time. And they have dates on the courses of how long it should take. For example, your first course might have an end date of 8 weeks from whatever day it is today. But you can completely disregard these dates if you plan on speed running this degree like I did. Even though it might have an end date of 6 to 8 weeks from now, you can still complete the course in 2 days. After you finish all the courses that you have unlocked, that's when you'll email your program mentor and ask them to open more classes for you. There's 2 different ways to pass the class. There's what they call an OA and what they call a PA. A PA is a performance assessment. It's an assignment that you have to complete. Typically, the assignment is just writing 1 to 2 very short papers. And then the OA, that's an objective assessment. And that's a course that requires you to take a test to complete it. The tests at WGU, they are proctored. You set up a webcam, someone's watching you take the test the whole time, so you can't cheat on these tests. You can get a degree in 4 to 6 months. Many people have done it, not just me. This is a go at your own pace type of program. I did a marketing degree, and in the beginning, I was flying through my courses. I was completing courses in 1 to 2 days each. After my first month and a half of working on schoolwork, I was already 50% done with the entire program. The second half of the program took me a little bit longer. It took me about 2.5 months. I do also want to note that I was unemployed at the beginning of this journey. I was treating school like a full-time job, grinding out schoolwork like 8 hours a day. But there are plenty of people who have got their degree in 6 months or less while still being employed full-time. And I'll pop up some examples of that too. Even if this takes you a year to complete, a bachelor's degree in 1 year for only $8,000 is still a hell of a deal in terms of time and money. And remember, $8,000, that would be the absolute max. That's without receiving any financial aid. So it's very likely it would be cheaper than that. Let's talk about the objective assessments, the tests, and how they work. Tests here are not graded in percentages. Your score is gonna be shown on a bar, and you have to hit this line on the bar right here in order to be considered competent and pass the test. They always have what's called a pre-assessment, and this is basically a practice test. You have to pass the pre-assessment before you can unlock and take the actual test. You can take this practice test as many times as you want. After you pass the pre-assessment, then you can take the actual test. You have to schedule it, but there's time slots that go 24 hours a day. So even if you need to take this test in the middle of the night, you can do that. When I would take my tests, I was always scheduling them on the weekdays, so I would never have any problem getting a time slot. But if you plan on taking your tests on the weekends, I would schedule that a few days beforehand, as those tend to fill up a little bit more quickly. For the real tests, you can retake them 3 times, so you get 4 attempts total. But if you do fail 3 times and you need that 4th attempt, then you actually have to pay a fee. If you fail a test, you normally have to email the course instructor and ask them to open it back up for you. Sometimes they'll just open it up for another try, no questions asked, but sometimes they'll make you like fill out a big study guide or do something in order for them to unlock it again for your next attempt. Obviously, you're gonna need a webcam to take these tests because they're proctored. WGU has a list of webcams that you can pick from, or you can buy one that meets the requirements. In addition to the webcam, you're also gonna need a way to hold your webcam up and get a good angle on you while you're taking the test. I would normally balance mine on this tripod right here, just because I don't have a shelf or anything near my desk where I could put it. You'll also need to have your ID ready for verification purposes, so they know that you're not paying someone else to take the test for you. And depending on the course that you're taking, you're also gonna need a whiteboard and a calculator. I only had about 2 classes in my marketing program that I needed a calculator and whiteboard for. I could see there being more classes that need that for other degrees. When you set up your webcam, you're gonna wanna have an angle like this because they're gonna need to be able to see your face, your computer screen, and your hands. So before you take the test, you should go onto your computer and open your webcam app. Make sure you have a good spot picked out where you can get this optimal angle, and you know that when you set your camera there, that you're gonna be good to go. They're gonna be able to see everything they need to see. After you click Start Exam, they're gonna have you go through a verification process and do what they call a room scan. For the room scan, you're gonna have to take a picture of your workspace, your computer screen, the left wall, the right wall, the wall behind you, and a picture of the floor. This is just so they can make sure you're not cheating, you know, you don't have like the answers stuck onto your wall. You'll also need to take a photo of your face and a photo of your ID. This is a super helpful tip I picked up on when taking these tests. I bought a cheap webcam, and I could never get it to take a clear photo of my ID, no matter how hard I tried. The proctors were never happy with the photo I took because you couldn't really read or make out the words. The photos just looked terrible. So this is what I would do. I would always submit the blurry photo of my ID from my webcam just because you have to do it to complete the verification process. They would normally say they weren't able to read the information on my ID. So what I would do, I would take a picture of my ID with my phone, and then I would zoom in on all the details and show them my phone screen. I would show them my picture, my date of birth, and I would show them the expiration date on the ID too. Once all your photos are good to go and the verification is completed, they're gonna ask you to take your phone and place it out of the testing area. I would bring my webcam with me and I would just show them that I was placing my phone on my bookshelf somewhere that you can't access it during the test. Now we're gonna talk about strategies and tips for passing the tests as quickly as possible. So if you really wanna speed run the degree, this is exactly what I did. The first thing I would do, I would first take the pre-assessment, the practice test. Then I would view the pre-assessment report and see how I did. The report afterwards is extremely helpful. It shows you all of the questions that were on the practice test you just took. It shows which ones you got right and wrong, and then it tells you which areas that it suggests you study. So what I would do is I would immediately just take the pre-test, then I would view the report, and I would just study the areas I didn't do very well in. You can see on this example, these are the areas with low scores, so these are the areas to study. You can even hit these drop-down arrows, and it will tell you the exact questions you missed and what section of the course material that you can find that information in. After I reviewed the information that I didn't do too well on, then I would take the real test. And this is what I did for 90% of the tests that I took at WGU. There were a few courses that were harder and I had to study a lot, and I'll get into those studying methods soon. Now, on the opposite end of that, with some of the easier courses, if I passed the pre-test and did really well, I would just jump right into the real test and just pass the class that day without ever looking at any of the course material. And most of the time too, the practice test is really close to what the real test is gonna be. There were only a few courses where I felt that the practice test and the real test were very different from each other. A very helpful tip for the tests. Each course has a specific course code. Take the course code, search it on Google, followed by Reddit WGU. For example, for my accounting class, I would search D196 Reddit WGU. Hearing about the tests from other people that did it is extremely helpful. They'll let you know how well the practice test matched the real test and how difficult the test was overall. They'll let you know what concepts and what course material they saw most often on the test. They'll also let you know the best studying methods. And for some courses, that might be going to the course resources and watching the course videos they have provided for you. Sometimes watching these videos is way more helpful than reading through the online textbook. Sometimes on Reddit too, you'll be able to find study guides or flashcards for that specific course that you're looking into. I don't think I did a single course at WGU without searching it up on Reddit first. For classes that require you to do performance assessments, they always give you a rubric which lists exactly how they want the assignment to be done. It lists all the requirements for it. There's usually also a video you can watch which explains the assignment in even greater detail. They are very specific when they grade these assignments. It's either a pass or it's a fail. There's nothing in between, just like on the tests. I only had a couple of instances where I had to revise my paper, but the good thing is they always told me exactly what was wrong with my paper, like what I was missing. So at the most, I would go in, I would see what they didn't like about it, and I would add or change 1 to 2 sentences, resubmit it, and I'd be all good to go. I'm pretty sure you can resubmit the assignments as many times as you want. If you resubmit it too many times, you might have to work with your course instructor to work out some sort of plan. Even though there's no penalty for your assignment not passing, you really want to make sure that your assignment meets all the requirements and that you can pass the first time, because these do take a few days to get graded. If you're waiting on a paper to get graded, you're gonna be losing valuable time. And you don't wanna have to revise the paper and then resubmit it and lose another 2 to 3 days waiting for it to get graded again. The good thing is though, if you have multiple classes unlocked, you could submit that paper and then you can start your next class and work on that while you're waiting to get a grade back on the other course. Now we're gonna talk about strategies and tips for passing the PAs, the assignments. Earlier I was mentioning how the performance assessments, they always give you a video to watch along with the rubric. What I would normally do is I would watch the video, I would take notes, I would write down everything they said about the requirements for the paper, then I would write the paper. After that, I would double check my paper with the rubric just to make sure I got everything in there that I needed to. So you can really just start a class, take note of what you need to know for the assignment, look up that information, and then submit your assignment. There's no need to read through all of the course material for these classes. One thing that you absolutely have to do for these performance assessments is use Grammarly. They talk about Grammarly a lot at WGU. For every assignment in the rubric, it's gonna list use of proper grammar. So write out your assignment, then run it through Grammarly and submit the revised version. I'm 99% certain that the people grading the paper are also using Grammarly. So as long as Grammarly says your paper is good to go, then you don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna leave you guys off with some last minute quick tips that I think will help you a lot. Tip number 1 is unlocking more classes. If you finished all the courses that you have unlocked and you wanna start working on the next ones, you're gonna have to email your mentor to open them up for you. Sometimes though, your mentor isn't gonna respond fast enough, but the good news is there's a whole mentor team that you can email. It's a large group of people and there's usually always someone who's able to respond pretty quickly and unlock those classes for you. So for me, I would always email my mentor, but I would also email the marketing mentor team to get those classes added as quickly as possible. Tip number 2, course resources. I found that there is always course resources for every course you take, and these are usually videos that'll help you complete the assignment or videos that explain the course material. They're always there, but the problem is sometimes these resources are in different places. So if you can't find your course resources where you usually find them, Don't assume that the course doesn't have any. Google it, and I guarantee somebody has the answer. Sometimes you have to follow a link that takes you to a separate site, and the course resources will be over there. Tip number 3 relates to studying and watching those course resource videos. Watch the videos in 1.5 times speed. The videos can be really long, and the instructors usually go at a pretty relaxed pace when they're explaining everything in the video. Putting it at 1.5 times speed will get you through it a lot quicker, and you won't miss anything. Tip number 4, the courses you need to look out for. If you plan on getting your bachelor's in marketing, these are the 2 classes you really need to watch out for. These are the 2 classes that gave me the most trouble and the classes that I had to spend the most time studying for. What I found to be the hardest course in this whole program was Principles of Economics, which is D089. I did pass this one on the first try, but that's because I spent a ridiculous amount of time studying, more time than I've ever spent on any other class at WGU. I looked it up on Reddit before I started it, and after reading what people said about it, I knew that I was gonna have to devote a lot of time to this. The second class you're gonna wanna look out for is Principles of Financial and Managerial Accounting, which is D196. This is actually the only test I ever failed at WGU, and I actually failed it twice. And the second time, the bar was touching the line. It just wasn't far enough through the line, if that makes any sense. I had to have missed it by 1 question. I was so mad when I saw those test results. I plan on making a video in the future specifically aimed at those of you pursuing a marketing degree, where I'll go more into depth about the hardest courses, what I did to study and pass them, what the easiest courses are, and strategies just tailored to this specific program. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video guide was helpful. I'll see you next time.